Well, good morning or good afternoon, everybody, depending on where you are. Aaron Shiner here, the final webinar for 2019. I'm really excited about this webinar. Today, I really want to help you with a few things. Thing number one, I want to give you a business plan to help you level up in 2020, grow your business, and have a clear path and direction of where you're going. That's thing number one. Thing number two, I'd like to help you with a little bit of your marketing for the first 3 months of next year. How are we going to keep our pipeline full? How are we identifying who our sellers are? But more importantly, how are the sellers identifying who you are? Because we all know it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. So what are some key things that you can be doing to get on the radar of sellers? And then I also would also like to have a conversation around how do we clear out some of our current stock, some of our current properties we're holding, so we can start the new year fresh, intaking new listings, because the last thing any of us want to do is try and go for a little holiday break and have, certain amount of vendors constantly contacting, asking why hasn't my property sold. So what I mean by that is go away on a holiday and actually enjoy the holiday. So I'm going to ask everybody a question, and it's a pretty simple question. Has your year so far, well, it's the end of the year, how did your year pan out? And let me give you 3 scenarios. Did your year go better than expected? Did your year go as expected? Or did your year go not as well as expected? Just write that in the chat for me. Better than expected, as expected, not as well as expected. Just let me know where you're at with that. And not as well as expected. So as expected, and it's interesting. There's a mixture, right? There's a mixture between those, and that's okay, because here's the thing. Sometimes the reality or the expectation doesn't meet the reality. That doesn't mean that's how it's going to be forever. It just means how it was now. But this is the opportunity where we turn it around. And I think the first place we start is by actually getting really clear on what it is that we want to achieve for the next 12 months. So what I'd like to do with everybody is just share my business plan with you guys. Actually, before we even do that, let me go through the agenda. Let me go through the agenda with you guys today. The first thing, we're going to go through the business plan. I'm going to help you build your pipeline. I'm going to show you how to use video to engage your audience and grow your brand. I want to talk about a couple of tools to help you convert some of those appraisals that are sort of sitting around at the moment. We'll also look at, how to get some good offers accepted if we've got time. That one's a maybe, okay? But here's what I'm going to do for everybody that sticks around to the end today. So if you stick around to the end today, I'm going to send you a link to my ebook, 10 Traits of Top Performers. It's only 7 pages, nice, simple read. I'm going to give you a link to that so you can access it and download it. And I'm also going to give those who stick around to the end the slides, the PDF slides today as well. So if you stick around to the end, I'll send you those 2 links in the chat like I did the other one, okay? So they're the 2 things that you're going to get by the end of this. But this is the main thing I really wanted to tackle today, and that is the 3 steps to having your best year ever. I was trying to come up with a play on words for 2020 vision, but you get my point. We're now closing in on the end of the year. I've got a question for everybody, and it's a simple question. If you could not fail, let's think big picture, right? If you could not fail, what would you like to achieve in your real estate career next year? One of my old mentors said this to me, and I've always remembered it. I remember I was having this conversation with him, and he was asking me, what are my goals? What do I want to write in fees? And this is at a time when I was relatively new to the industry. And in my first year, I sort of come on the scene, wrote $400,000 in fees. And this is going back 19 odd years ago now. So it's probably like writing 800 now, because a house you could buy for 150,000. And And I remember setting my next goals, and he said, Aaron, he said, I think you're playing small. He said, I think you're setting goals you can achieve. I said, of course. He said, well, he said, this is how I prefer you to think. He said, I prefer you to shoot for the stars. And if you fall short, you land on the moon, because it's still better than being on Earth. And I always remember him saying that to me. So what's my point? I prefer to set bigger goals, and if I fall a little bit short, well, at least I stretched myself, because there's one thing I know in life, and that is what you stretch grows. You never grow if you're living in the realms of what you can achieve. Sometimes good things are created outside of that. Why am I sharing that with you? Because you're about to set a business plan for the next 12 months ahead. Let's not set those outcomes and those goals and targets in that state of comfortable. Let's set those things and those targets outside of comfortable. So for me, I think the very first place a business plan should start is with personal income, because let's be real, in this business of real estate, we all exchange time for money. So if we're going to exchange time for money, we may as well get the most amount of money for our time as possible. So let's set the goal. Is that like, 200 grand for you? Is it 300 grand for you? Is it $500,000? Is it $1 million? Shit, is it 2 million? I don't know what it is for you, but write it down. And I'm not saying write it down to the point where you're comfortable. I'm talking about writing it down to the point where you have FU money. And if you understand what I mean by FU money, that's the money where you can go and buy nice things, where you can go on holidays, that you can go to the restaurants you want, you can buy the toys that you want. You don't just want to, survive, you want to thrive. And for me, I always want to make sure I've got that FU money there. And the reason why I call it FU money is because when people tell you can't do something or you shouldn't be doing that, that's the budget that you've got to go do that sort of stuff. Yeah. So whatever it is, write down that figure of not just what it takes to survive in personal income, but to have an abundance. And that's the mentality I want you to take with this. What's that awesome level of money? Is it 200, 300? But write it down, right? Because then after that, we're now going to figure out what sort of gross fees, gross commission does that actually take for you to achieve that. Now there's your split, right? And you know what I mean by that. If you wrote $100,000 gross to your office, you might be on a 50-50 split. So that means you wrote 100 gross, that means you got 50. And depends. Some of you are going to be contractors where you commission only. Some of you are going to be on credit, debit, and salaries. So this is up to you to figure out how that that grows. But basically, what I mean is, if you wrote 500,000, would that entitle you to a $250,000 income? So you figure out what you need to write gross to get to your personal earnings target, right? So write down your personal earnings income, then also write down the gross, what it would take for you. And that's not gross to you as in commission, but that's gross to the office before your split. So gross to the office before your split, right? So just write that down. If it's 250,000 in personal earnings, well, it might be it might be 500,000 excluding GST gross, right? So let's just go with those two examples: 250K, $500,000 in fees. Well, here's also what I know. Now we actually need to figure out how many listings and how many sales we need to get. So let's start with the sales one. So it's the one below listings. So let's start with sales. Let's just, on this example, let's just work it on a $10,000 average gross fee, right? So if I needed to write $500,000 gross, I know that I need to make about 50 sales. I know I need to make about 50 sales. So I'd write that in the sales box. And then you go, but how about listings? Well, how many listings do I need? Well, that's entirely up to you, because you know your list to sell ratio better than I do. In my opinion, an acceptable listing to sell ratio is anywhere sort of north of 70, ideally 80%. That if you list 10, you will sell 8. that is what I would, that's called a very good list to sell ratio. Anything north of that is exceptional. Anything below, you list 10 and you sell 7, I would say probably needs a little bit of work through your vendor management strategy. So I would say I'd be shooting for, you can see there that list to sell ratio. Anything north of 70% to me is what you should be shooting for. Okay. So I know that if I want to sell 50 properties in the next 12 months, because that 50 properties will give me the commission of 10 grand each, which will get me to the $500,000 gross, working on a 70, 80% conversion ratio. In this example, let's just say I'd want to shoot for 60. So I know that I've got to list 60 properties. I've got to list 60. I've got to sell 50. And that will get me to my $500,000 gross fees, which will get me to my $250,000. So they're the big rocks, right? So in a business plan, we have big rocks, little rocks, sand, and water. Now let's actually look at the little rocks. Now let's just break it down to the month. And to the month, oh, sorry, not to the month, to the quarter. To the quarter is pretty simple. If it's $500,000 gross fees, then rough maths, if I get this wrong, I apologize. It should be $125,000 for the quarter. And if it's 60 listings, and I'm just working this out on my calculator, I'm cheating, but that's what you should all be doing. You should have your calculator out and typing in those figures. So $125,000 gross for the quarter. That should be 15 listings for the quarter. And it should be 12 or call it 13 sales. So I know I need to write $125,000 gross. I know I need to have 15 listings, and I know I need to have 13 sales. And that's for the quarter. So there's my little rocks, right? So I know quarterly what I should be doing. And what I should say, by the way, you know, what I love about this business plan, it's one page. It all just fits on one page. So this isn't like one of those business plans that goes in your top drawer and it's never to be seen again. All the vital data is you can pin it on your desk and it's in front of you, right? Now obviously it's on 2 pages for the slide, but it's on 1 page for, for the actual PDF. So then here's what we want to look at: objectives for the month, right? So we want to look at 125K divided by 3. I know that to write $500,000, I need to do 41.6, call it 42,000 for the month, right? Then listings wise, I need to get 5. Sales wise, I need to get 4. Now here's where it gets a little bit interesting. We're factoring in appraisals we need to do to get the listings, and we're also factoring in buyer inspections to get the sales. So now you can actually see monthly, it's actually coming down to things I can control. Because if I'm sitting here saying, well, I need to get 6 listings for the month and 5 sales, it all gets a bit daunting because that's a little bit out of my control. I can't control if you decide to list with me or you decide to buy the property. But what I can control is how many appointments I actually book. So now here's one thing I'd love you to do. And this is actually a really simple process. Go and pull the last, 6 months worth of appraisal data. So pull the last 6 months of appraisals you've done and figure out exactly how many of those appraisals have actually listed with you. So you can figure out your appraisal to listing ratio. How many appraisals do you actually need to go to before you actually secure a listing? Now, if you're doing sort of price checks and updates, well, obviously you're going to have to go to a lot more. If you're working with really warm and established people on your database, well, obviously that number is going to be a lot lower. But there's going to be, if you're a newbie on this webinar, because I know there are some rookies on here, a really good safe number for somebody like that is probably 1 in 5. You'd have to have 1 in 5 appraisals will convert to a listing. If you're a real seasoned agent on this call and you're dealing with hot people, past clients, referrals, you're probably 1 in 2. And that number will obviously change depending on who you are, the time in career, quality of contact you're working with. There's no set figure, but 1 in 5 is probably high. 1 in 2 is probably low, and somewhere in between will probably be the average. But my point is, that's your job to figure it out. I don't know your business like you know your business. But let's just say it's 1 in 3 for the argument, right? And it's 6 listings for the month and it's 1 in 3. Well, I know that to get my 6 listings, I need to do 18 appraisals. And I can tell you my personal figures. When I was listing 200 properties a year, I wanted to list 18 a month. So that was 18 listings every single month. I know to secure 18 listings, I had to go out and do 45 listing appointments. They were my numbers. Now, that's not to say all the ones that out of the 45, I only got 18, I missed the others. No, the others typically weren't ready to come to market yet. They just weren't ready to pull the trigger. So you figure out how many appraisals you need to go to get those listings. That's really important, okay? Is it 1 in 3, 1 in 2, 1 in 4, 1 in 5? But figure it out. Write that number down. And then also figure out the amount of buyer inspections you actually need to attend. Now, let me explain what I mean by buyer inspections. I'm not talking about physical buyers now. I'm talking about inspections. So I may have one buyer, and that one buyer may look at 4 properties with me. Well, that would count as 4 inspections. The reason why I like to count the inspections and not the buyers is because if you're using any CRM and you're adding your inspections to the database, this is a really easy figure to actually find out. Just go and look through the last 3 months of inspections you've done. Just run the inspection report with your initials on all the properties and it will give you a number. Then figure out how many sales you've made and then you'll be able to figure out, is it 12? For me, it's anywhere between 12 to 14 inspections equates to somebody making a genuine buyer making an offer. So I know that every 12 to 14 inspections that I get an offer. So what's my point? Now these figures start to really come to life monthly, right? Now I can say, well, for me to get, my 5 listings and it's 1 in 12, well, 5 times 12, I need, is that right? 5 times 12, I need to do 60 inspections for the month to get my 5 sales. I know to get my 6 listings for the month, I need to do 18 listing appointments. And on average, I would like to show a single buyer 2 to 4 properties. So one buyer would see 2 to 4 properties with me. So that could be me working with 20 to 25 buyers over a month to get those 60 odd inspections. So let's just do a quick pause for a second. I just want to make sure, I'm going to try and open up this control panel. I'm a bit of a rookie with this, but participants. All right. I just want to see lower all hands. Can everybody, just see a show of hands if you're following so far. You're following, you're taking notes, you're getting this. There's some aha moments here. Look, let's be real. What I'm showing you, this isn't rocket science. This is just a basic blueprint, if you will. But great, fantastic, lots of hands there, excellent. But here's also what I know. You might say to me, Aaron, I know this stuff. It's up in here. I get that, and you should know this stuff. But this is why it should be on paper. If you're a builder and you've built houses for years, do you just go onto a job site and just start building it? And they go, what are you doing? You go, hang on, no, the blueprint, I've got it. It's up in here. No, you still wouldn't do that. You'd still have the blueprint. You'd still have the plan in front of you. You would still be mapped out. You wouldn't just start swinging the hammer and a nail, even though you know what to do. You'd follow the plan, and that's exactly what I'm asking, especially some of you experienced agents. Even though you might know these figures up here, it's always good to have it visual too. So other people in your team can share in your vision as well. I think a business plan only comes to life when you put it out to the world. This is what I have a firm belief around this. Speak it and it will come true. If you keep it internal and you're too embarrassed or you don't want to tell people in case it doesn't happen, that's when it doesn't happen. When you speak it and it comes true, that's when you become accountable, not only to yourself, but the others around you. And having this business plan on your wall is, people can see it. People can say, are you on track or are you off track? And just by the fact of that happening, I think that's a good thing, because sometimes there's things we don't feel like doing, but when others know what your plan is, sometimes, because we'll do more for others than we'll do for ourselves. So So let's continue with this business plan. We should have all our figures booked in. So this is one thing I really want to make sure and this isn't in the plan, but I really want to make sure we get this next part. How many appointments are you doing a day? That to me will be the ultimate gauge to how well we succeed or fail. So let me explain what I mean. If it's 18 listing appointments in a month, that's basically one every working day. If it's 60 buyer inspections, and that means 20 to 25 buyers, that's basically one buyer appointment a day. So can I tell you, here is the secret to a successful business plan. This is it. If this is all you take away out of this webinar, I promise it will help you. The thing that helped me list 200 properties plus a year, 3 years in a row, the thing that helped me do over 150 sales 3 years in a row, wasn't the business plan itself. It was the ability to identify how many appointments I needed to book a day. And for me, what I figured out really quickly in my career was I needed to book 2 listing appointments a day and 1 buyer appointment. So for me, I needed to book 3 appointments per day. After you run your numbers, how many appointments do you need to book a day to achieve your goals? Does it average at 1 appointment a day? In the example that we've done out loud, it works out that it's 2 appointments a day, or is it 3? But here's what I know. I can't control if you list. I can't control if you buy. But I can control how many appointments I book a day. So every day I walk through the door, I've only got one mission. I've got one priority in my business, and that isn't attending pests, building inspections, valuations, writing ads, doing any of that stuff. I only have one focus, one goal, and that is to book 3 appointments every single day. Because I know if I book 3 appointments every single day, that I will get my listings, and inevitably, if I get listings, I'll get sales. So I made something that was, I guess, a pretty complex thing, list 200 properties a year, made it really simple. Did I book 3 appointments today? Yes, then I am on track. Because when I started writing these goals and I wrote 200 listing appointments, on the sheet, my brain automatically said, you can't do that. When I said I'm going to sell 150 properties, my brain said, you can't do that. But when I worked out it was 3 appointments a day, my brain said, I can absolutely do that. So I never focused on the 18, 20 listings a month, or the 60 a quarter, or the 200 a year. It was just book 3 appointments per day. So I just made it, everything that I'm going to share with you moving forward is how to create appointments. So I just become an appointment booking machine. And I knew if I could book appointments, eventually I can't be that terrible that I can do, that's 3 appointments a week. 3 appointments a day, excluding Saturdays. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. That's 15 appointments Monday to Friday. So that's 60 appointments, excluding Saturdays. That's 60 appointments during the over the month. I can't do 60 appointments a month and be that terrible not to get something. Eventually, you're going to get some things, right? And that's how I built my business. And now I'm suggesting that's how you do it as well. Focus on the things you can control. Focus on the daily activity and the results will come. The activity is the key to results. Don't focus on the results, because focusing on results sort of freezes us, is debilitating, and then you're not getting the results, and then there's more pressure. Don't focus on that. Focus on your output. Focus on the booking of the appointment. So this is your job now. Figure out, is it 1 appointment, 2 appointments, or 3 appointments per day? And I promise you, you're going to have a really good platform to 2020. Just see a show of hands who can do that for me. Just see a show of hands who can do that for me, who can just figure out, actually, tell me who can do it for me, or figure out how many appointments it already is. Fantastic. There's a few hands going up, which is good to see. That's excellent, guys. Excellent. Well done. All right. So, and I think I've got some chat. So let me just pause for a second. I just want to make sure. Excellent, Jared. 2, if you've already figured out how many appointments you need per day, I'd love it if you could start putting in the chat how many appointments it is per day. That's excellent. Excellent. Okay. I can already see some numbers. 2 a day. Fantastic. 3 a day. 1 and 2. Great. You know what? I don't mind what it is as long as you know what it is, and then you make that your priority. You know, fantastic, Donna. Well done. Okay, guys, that's excellent. So I'm really, really happy to see that in the chat. Okay, that's awesome. So let me keep going. You can see down the bottom now by month. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this part, but I'll spend a little bit. By the month, I know this to be true. Some months are going to be more profitable, bigger months than others. So let's factor that in. I can tell you from firsthand experience, I've made plenty of mistakes here, especially when I was at one of the places I got stuck in my career was at 600,000 GCI. So I plateaued at 600, right, for about 2 years. I tried everything and I really couldn't get above it early on. Because what I was doing was setting my target for 50,000 every single month. But then what I was never factoring in was, you know, December's typically quiet, January's typically quiet, and you might take time off somewhere else. So I would go and, you know, set my goals for 50 a month, and I'd do 50s, and then, you know, I'd still come in short, and I couldn't figure out why I was, you know, 550 or 560. I'm like, well, I'm setting my goals at 50 a month because I wasn't factoring in, you know, if January you did 40 out of the 50,000, well, in February you probably had to do 60 to get ahead. So based off that, this is how I'd like to see you do it. When you figure out what your gross commission is, break it down into 12, but not 12 even parts. That's what I'm trying to get at. Not 12 even parts. It's got to be 12 parts. Some, you know, the spring market's going to be busier. You know, June or July, you know, sometimes July's a bust. Sometimes it's good, depending on the year, and I don't know why. The financial year, that's for us in Australia. NZ, you guys in March. But figure out where your slower months are going to be and be real with that. And then also figure out where your busier months are going to be. So, you know, not every single month's going to be the exact same. You're not going to have the same targets every month. Some are going to be more than others, and then some will be the average. So figure out what that looks like for you. And I promise that's very important here, okay? Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Now I've given you the figures. We've got the mechanics of it. Now, here's a question I have for everybody, and maybe you don't answer this in its entirety right now, but I promise you, this is the most important page to answer moving forwards. What are the new habits? What are the new commitments you've got to make in your business to get to where you want to go? Because you know where you're strong in your business, and you know where you need work in your business. And what I mean by that, you know where you're strong and you know where your blockages are. You know where you're stuck. So for some of you, that might be around a marketing plan or around a listing presentation. I don't know what it is, but this is what I'm going to say to you right now. If you want to go to you want to level up in your real estate career, you want to go to that next level, you want to do better, then remember I said at the beginning of the call, I'm probably not saying it right, but the level of thinking that created the problem with the same, you need a different level of thinking to fix the problem. So here's what I know. If you're currently writing whatever you're writing with the current skill set, the tools that you have, well, what are some of the things that you need to improve to go to the next level? You know, and let me explain what I mean. You might say to me, Aaron, I need new habits, new commitments. Aaron, I'm going to actually make a marketing plan. So I actually stay in contact with all the people on my database. Well, that's a new commitment. Aaron, you know what? I've been winging it on my listing presentation. I sort of just chat to people, you know, and I just sort of see what happens. You know what? I'm actually going to take time out and actually work on creating a structured listing presentation, not for me, but for them, so they can appreciate the journey that's involved to go from start to finish. Or you might say to me, Aaron, you know what? We're coming into 2020 and I'm still terrible at video, and I really avoid doing video. But you know what? In 2020, I'm going to get good at video. I'm going to actually commit to doing one a month. I don't know. I'm just hypothetical. I'm just spitballing here, guys. I'm just doing some hypotheticals. You know what it is in your business. It might be as simple as this. You know what, Aaron? I'm going to start putting data in my database. I'm actually going to start capturing the people that I speak to. That still exists. That's still a thing, right? It shouldn't be, but it is. I'm I'm going to start putting my appraisals in the system. I don't know. Up to you. I'm just putting it out there, what I hear in coaching sessions. You know, I'm just putting some of those things out there. Can I, you know, because for me, this is me just, I'm talking at you right now. I can't see if you're liking this or hating this or writing this or agreeing or disagreeing. Tell me in the chat, guys, put it in the chat. Give me one commitment. Give me one commitment you're going to make that's different. Put it in there so I know that you can still hear me too. FU money, I like that. Good stuff. Video marketing, very, very, Janelle, of course. Yeah, but Janelle, we're going to be doing video marketing by Friday because that's the deadline until I kick down your front door and demand it. We'll roll in with a camera myself and get it from you and Dan. So, working my database better. Awesome. Structuring my listing presentation and more social. Fantastic, guys. Structuring my, yeah, awesome. Telemarketing every day, 2 sessions of improve my list. Yeah, excellent, guys. Nurturing your database better, increasing the visual presence, video. Yeah, 100%, Jeremy. I reckon like everybody has access to video in today's day and age, and there's a word called bonding. People bond to you when they know you, like you, and trust you, right? So know you, like you, trust you. Very important in our industry. Know you, like you, trust you. And the way that we used to do know you, like you, trust you is we'd send you an email or we'd send you a direct mail letter or we could talk to you, right? Like the best tool for bonding now is video. It's like the next best thing to sitting next to somebody. And the great thing about it is you can create it once and 100, 1,000, 10,000 people can see it. The best thing about video is if I write an email to you, you can't hear my tone, you can't see my facial expressions, and you can't feel my energy. I send you a letter, a lot of that's lost as well. On a video, they can sense all those things. They like your tone, they can sense your energy, and they can see you. So the more people can see you, the better it is for that know you, like you, trust you process of bonding. So video is a great one, and I'm glad you picked up on that. Joanne, daily planning. I 100% agree with that. And I know I'm a bit sidetracked now, but I'd love to help you out, Joanne, just with one little simple thing that I do every single day. And that is you ask yourself the question, what result am I going to produce today? What's in my diary today? What result am I going to produce today? What appointments do I have in my diary? Or maybe it should be what appointments do I have in my diary and what result am I going to produce? But there are 2 questions I'd ask myself daily. Right, what's in my diary? Not much. Right, book 3 appointments. Great, got 3 appointments. Now that doesn't necessarily mean for today, but for future. Well, what results can I produce today? Right? Regardless, okay? But offload to an admin or an assistant. I agree with that too. You know, there's things that are high dollar productive in our business and there's things that aren't. Right? Let me explain. The high dollar productive things need to be done by you. The things that aren't need to be done, but don't necessarily need to be done by you and could be done by somebody else. So definitely keep that in mind, how you can leverage, because leveraging in this business is key. You know, become a specialist, really focus on those high dollar productive activities and leverage everything that isn't, okay? And again, that might take time to figure out that system, better checklists, better procedures. Can I just say this? This is like the simplest little tip that I can give anybody that's looking at helping somebody with workload. This is how you do it. Let me tell you, this is the strategy. If you're looking at hiring somebody to help you with those non-dollar productive activities, you actually record all those tasks on your computer. So you install a video app which records your screen and your face. Might cost you $100, might take you a day to learn it, but you get a video recording app on your computer. And anytime you're about to do a remedial task, you actually record it and give instructions. So this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it, and this is how I'm doing it. And then you file it under remedial task number 1. Then you do remedial task number 2 and remedial task number 3. So then when the new person comes in, and they need to learn how to do it, they've got a full video training library of how to actually do those remedial tasks. So then you can get on to being dollar productive And if they need to see it 4 or 5 times, well, it's there. Now, if they still need a little bit of help, they'll only need the last 10%. They don't need the other 90. So if you are going to get remedial help, go and record a training library. So just a real quick little tip. Okay, so I'm really happy with that. Okay, now here's the big one: personal outcomes. This is why we do this business. And I read a really good quote last night, and that quote was this: we only live once. And it said, no, we only die once, we live every day. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you is we only do this thing called real estate to help us in our personal lives. Real estate is a vehicle, and it's a fantastic vehicle if we get it right. What do we want to do in our personal lives? Do we want to have enough money to send our kids to the best unis? Do we want to pay off our house and be debt-free? Do we want a nice, shiny car? Do we want to have money, a certain amount of money in your bank account? Do you want to, I know what I want to do. I want to have FU money for the government so I never have to rely on a handout in my life. I want to make sure that we're financially secure, as we get older. I don't know what it is for you. Do you want to go on a holiday? Write down 4 or 5 things in 2020 that if you could achieve, it would be awesome. If it's paying off credit card debt, buying an investment property, putting a certain amount of money away in shares. I don't know. Write it down. I know I've got mine. Write it down. So why are we doing all this stuff? Just write down 3 or 4 things. And if you want to share them, these are personal, but I'd love to hear them. Tell me what are one of your personal goals? If you're going to make this money, what are you going to do with it? Use your powers for good. Everybody in this business has a superpower. Use your superpowers for good. So when you're making that money, you have a bit of that fun money, but then you also have some serious money where we actually get ahead in life. Credit card debt, 100%. Get rid of it. Kill the mortgage. Fantastic. I don't know what it is for you, but I can tell you what it was for me years ago. Pay off that house. Pay off that house debt as quickly as possible because I wanted to own the own deeds of my house. I've got my own safe, like it's buried in the concrete of my house, and the deeds of my house are in the safe. And that was one of my first goals I wanted to do getting into this business. But regardless, lifestyle block, get married, I'm cool with all of that. But that's whatever those things are. This is what I mean, right? You can hear I get passionate about this stuff. These are the things here on this list that get you up early, keep you up late. These are the things when you get knocks, when you get roadblocks, when you get barriers. These are the things where you don't stop at the roadblock. These are the reasons why you either drive around the roadblock or you drive through the roadblock. These are going to be the things, right? Very important. Nothing works unless you keep your health. Agree, Chris. So is it about being able to take that time off, go to the gym, exercise, whatever it is? Write those personal goals down. They don't all have to be monetary. They just got to, nourish you. What are the things that are important to you? So write them down. Right. So let's agree that I will send you the PDF if you stick around to the end. I've already sent you the business plan. If you come in late, here is the business plan one more time. That's where you can download the PDF. You can get it off that link. And you can fill that in, your personal goals, your new habits, and that. Can I just see a show of hands? Was this, and obviously we've still got a lot more to cover, but was this first part of the session of value to everybody? Just want to see a show of hands, that whole business planning session. Because that's really, guys, I've got to be honest and say that was the hero of our session today. I really wanted to make sure that if the worst case scenario thing happened, you got a great business plan moving into 2020. You've got a clear direction of where you're going. And I'm really happy for you if now you're much clearer for it. Now what I'd like to share with you is I would like to discuss a marketing plan. I'd really like to discuss a nice little marketing plan around how do we end 2019 and how do we start 2020? What does your marketing plan look like, right? So I'd like to have that discussion with you now. So the first thing I'm going to share with everybody is a really simple strategy around engaging your potential sellers in your database. So we're going to talk about database here. So I'm going to talk about 3 audiences over the next 10 minutes. So I'm going to move quickly. I'm going to talk about your database audience. How are you engaging them? I'm going to talk about your farm area audience. How are you engaging them? And then I'm going to talk about your social media audience and how you're going to engage them. So for me, a really simple strategy for me is SMSing your pipeline sellers in your database. And it just says, with Christmas Day closing in, I wanted to connect and extend my warmest Christmas wishes to you and your family from me and my family. May Santa bring you everything you've ever wished for. Merry Christmas. Look, you might say, Aaron, your text is cheesy. I'm cool with that. I don't mind what you write. You know what I do mind? That you send something. I really love you to send something to your database this Christmas. And preferably, I'd like it to be an SMS, because SMSs get read. Now, you might say to me, Aaron, my database isn't set up to send SMSs. Cool. Go and pick your top 50, top 100, top 200 clients and pick up your phone and SMS them manually, right? Go and SMS them manually. Might take you an hour. It'll be the best hour in the month you've spent, because A, it will build goodwill, but B, it will also induce responses and it will engage people, and they'll say Merry Christmas to you too. Some people will say, call me in the new year. We're thinking about doing something. So now you've got a lead. So commit to doing an SMS. Now you might say, Aaron, how about I just send them an email? Yeah, you can. And I'm going to share exactly what you can put on that email in a second, right? But let's keep going. January, a very happy new year to you. And then just let them know that the market's busy. So you might send the December one next week, maybe Wednesday to Friday next week. That's when I would send it personally, Wednesday to Friday. And then January, you might send that out in the 2nd or 3rd week of January, right? Just letting them know that it's busy and, we've still got a few buyers that are hunting that want to buy a property before Easter. Get in contact with us. So I'd be doing 2 SMSs over the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks, right? So that's one strategy. Second strategy is a really simple one. I'd be looking at generating a list of every single appraisal I'd done in the past 12 months. So any appraisal, any listing appointment, whatever your phrase or terminology is, any listing appointment or appraisal I'd done in the past 12 months that have not listed yet. So they haven't listed, they're unsigned. I would generate that list. So I just got a list of all those unsigned appraisals. You know what? I'd make it my mission just to get in contact with them. And when I mean contact, I mean hello, phone, wish them all a Merry Christmas, and then also do this. Offer them your professional recommendation list. And that's where you put a list together of, the accountant, the finance broker, the gardener, the handyman, the painter, the cleaner. You put everybody, the plumber, you put everybody on that list and you speak to those, whatever it is, 50, 100 appraisals. Just say, look, I know we spoke a little bit earlier this year. I just wanted to say, if we don't connect before the end of the year, have a great, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Also, I'm going to drop off or mail over a professional recommendation list. It just builds a little bit of goodwill. If you've got a fridge magnet, include the fridge magnet with it. I like fridge magnets are old school, but I love them still because a fridge magnet has your photo on it. It goes on their fridge. It takes 18 to 24 points of contact for someone to remember who you are over a 12-month period. Well, they go to their fridge probably 24 times a day. So I love fridge magnets. So you can have your professional recommendation list with your fridge magnet. Go deliver it to them. They stick it on their fridge. It's a good bit of branding, right? So that's one strategy to engage your 12 months of past appraisals. And by the way, that template is free, keyword free on Jiggler. If you don't know what Jiggler is, real quick, Jiggler's got like over 400 of my templates. All you do is click a button. It automatically changes it to your colors, your brand, your look, your feel. You can edit these things. It's basically, once you set up an account, it's like editing a Word document. So again, if you want to access that on the house, just head straight over to Jiggler, and that's how you can access it for free. It's under the new tab too. Under the new category is where you will find it, okay? If you're watching this as a recording in 3 months' time, it's not going to be under the new category anymore. But for now, it's just gone live. It's new, right? So if you want access, look, I'm cool. If you say, no, I don't like it, no problems, not offended, don't use it. But you know what I would say? With these people that have got 12 months worth of, your past 12 months worth of appraisals, call them and send them something. If it's not this, send them something, right? Now, the next place, if we want to get more listings, really simple, not going to spend much time on it. I would be generating a list of every withdrawn listing in your market over the past 12 months. So any withdrawn listing that did not transact, so they went on the market and come off, I'd be generating that list. Any property that's been on the market for longer than 120 days, I'd be generating that list because they're out of agency agreement and the withdrawn ones are off the market. What's my point? Come January, there's going to be a lot of those expired listings that have been on the market for 90, 100, 120 days. This is what they're saying now. You know what? We've really got to sell it. But let's just get Christmas out of the way. Let's just get Christmas out of the way. And then, you know, in the new year, we'll come back and we'll appoint an agent. Here's what I want you to do. All those expired listings, I want you to be ready with them. You know, contact them. Send them a letter to introduce yourself. You know, send them a profile. I can even show you a template you can send them, but send them something. Send those expired something. Send those withdrawn something because, you know, people that maybe withdrew in 2019 really could be motivated to sell in 2020. So really have those two lists ready to fire on come the beginning mid-January, right? And what I'm really saying is catch your competition asleep at the wheel. Start planning this stuff now. So you're not having to get the momentum rolling in January. We're getting January's momentum rolling now. And I understand the list will be, will change. So you might do this towards the end of, end of this month, ready to deploy, but have your content ready, knowing what you're going to send. If you want me to share what I would send, by all means, I will share it with you. But they're two lists that I would certainly be focusing on. Ben, please share. Okay, I would love that. To contact expires. Yeah, no problems. I'll show it to you guys. And then the last one that I would be doing as well is active buyers. So these are the three groups. If I'm looking at, let's call it low-hanging fruit. And that's really what I'm talking about here. If you just want some low-hanging fruit, I'd be looking at my unsigned appraisals, I'd be looking at expireds and withdrawns, and I'd be looking at active buyers. And what do I mean by active buyers? I mean any buyer that looked in November or December, I'd be contacting in January. And you can contact them in one of three ways. You can call them, email, or text them. I don't really mind. But I'd be asking this question. Are you upgrading or downsizing? Are you researching? Are you researching in terms of buying or selling? Do you have to sell before you buy? But I'd be getting in contact with every buyer that had walked through a property over the past 2 months and ask them, do they have a house to sell? Now, you can do that via text, you can do that via email, or you can go old school and pick up the phone. But if I'm sitting in your shoes and I want to start 2020 with a bang and I want to get some momentum quickly, active buyers, because remember, today's buyer is tomorrow's seller, right? So today's buyer is tomorrow's seller. So look at what I'm doing. I'm texting all my database December. I'm texting all my database in January. We're creating an appraisal list. We're calling them. We're giving them a gift. We're chasing expireds and withdrawns, and we're chasing all the active buyers. There's 5 or 6 things here, guys, that can help generate leads. Remember what I said? In 2020, you're in the business of booking appointments. I promise you, everything I've just shared with you there, as quickly as I shared it, will help you book appointments. The last thing I want to share with you. Actually, two more things I'm going to share with you. I'm just conscious of our time. We've got 10 minutes left, so I think we're pretty good. We're gonna hit on a lot of these agenda items. Okay, so you got a guy with a video. What's this mean? This slide basically. What I'm going to do is actually stop share for a second, so it's just me on the screen because we don't really need that that guy. What I mean with the video icon, here's what I'd love you to do. Remember how I said I was going to help you with your database plan, your farm area planning, your social plan? This is the social plan part. Here's what I'd love you to do. I'd love you to get face the camera. And when I mean face the camera, I don't mean book a film crew. I mean have somebody hold an iPhone or whatever phone you've got. They've all got 4K cameras in them now. Stand out the front of your office, look down the barrel of the camera, and your video will consist of three things. Merry Christmas, thing number one. Give them a Merry Christmas message. Thing number two, give them a quick marketplace wrap. You know, what's happened over the last 3 months. Are we seeing, you know, strong buyers, whatever? And then third thing, call to action. And the call to action might be enjoy the holidays. And in 2020, if you're looking at buying or selling, get in contact with me. I'd love to help. That's a call to action. So what's my point? I'd love to see everybody on this call make a 1 to 2 minute video. Staring down the barrel. Doesn't have to be Steven Spielberg productions or editing angles, but authentic video, wishing your clients a Merry Christmas, letting them know what's going on in the market and letting them know if they need help, they can contact you. I'd be staring down the barrel of a camera, doing that. I'd put it on my social media, right? On my Facebook page. But then what I would do is I'd get that link off Facebook, I'd put it on an email, and then I'd email that to my whole buyer and seller database. So the people that actually should be seeing it are seeing it. No point having your second cousin and your best friend from junior school that, you know, from primary school that you haven't seen for 30 years see it. Actually get it to the people who can actually do a transaction with you. So post it on social media, but then also SMS it to everybody else. So that's one thing I would suggest you do. The second thing I'd suggest you do with video is do a video in January saying, hey, it's the new year. We've started back. Things are busy. Hope you had a great holiday break. I've got some buyers who are wanting, or I've got some people that want to transact and be in before Easter. If you're thinking about doing something, now's the time. We've seen an increase, etc. So if I'm sitting in your shoes and I'm wanting to I'm wanting to come up with better video ideas, or how do I engage people with video? Merry Christmas for December, Happy New Year for January. They're only 1 to 2 minute long videos, but once you've done them, put them on your socials, then get that link off Facebook and then email it to your database. Okay, can everybody do that for me? Hands up who will give that a genuine effort to create some videos for me. Just see a show of hands who will do that for me. Some really fantastic guys. That's awesome. So and again, there's a saying, guys, and this is a very important saying: frequency through contacts builds trust. So let me say it again: frequency through contact builds trust. The phases of real estate, of a success or failure of real estate, is know you, like you, trust you. When people can consistently see your videos, consistently hear your voice, consistently see your face, that will take them through the phase of know you, like you, trust you. And that's when you become that go-to agent. That's when people are attracted to you. That's when people, they know you. Remember what I said, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. And the more video you do, the more presence you have like that, the more people will know you and they'll come into your sphere of influence, right? So I just wanted to share that with you around video. And let me get back on track here. Okay. And then let me just share the last thing. And then I think I'm going to let you guys go on your way. What I am going to do, I am going to hang around to answer some questions at the end here as well. So if you do have some questions for me, by all means, fire them away. So let me share, and I told you I was going to share the expired letter, right? So I'm going to share with you 3 templates now in the next 5 minutes. I'm going to share 3 marketing templates, because what we're really looking at now are some templates you can go out to in the farm area. So in the farm area, this is a great one to build goodwill, a letter from Santa. And the whole concept around this is you use it as a letterbox drop. And a letterbox drop goes out and it says, hey, if you'd like your kids to receive a letter from Santa, all you've got to do is fill in the details. And we will get your kid a letter from Santa. Now, this is a great way to fill your pipeline. This is a great way to build your database. Now, I think if Monique, if you're still on this call, Monique, I don't know if you are, but if you are, I would love to know your results from this. Yes, we're here. Great. Can you share? Okay, Melanie from Framptons has already used it. We've had this and had used this and had replies. Monique, can you tell me how many you dropped and how many you got back so far? Because I know you've already done it. 9 requests since it went out on Friday, which is great. Okay, Jared with 20 from 500 homes. So now you might be saying, oh, but it's the 11th. Is there still time to do this? You betcha. You know what? I'll give you access to this template today. What's today? The 11th. You might drop these off over the next week, right? So you might drop these. Just looking at why I'm looking down is I'm looking at my calendar on my phone. You might start dropping these from tomorrow and Friday, Monday and Tuesday next week. So you might get as many as you can out over the 4 days. And then on the 18th, 19th, and 20th, you focus on getting the letters, the actual letters to the kids. So Judy, fantastic Judy. Judy dropped 800 and got 96 responses. Fantastic. Monique, 3,800 dropped, 180 letters gone out. Fantastic. 70 contacts added to the database. Love it, right? Now, again, to accelerate this, you might put it on social media. You might email it to your database. You might use it as a letterbox shop. Here's what I know. It builds goodwill. Thing number 1. Thing number 2, it builds trust in your database. Thing number 3, it adds contacts to your database. So, and worst case scenario, you get to meet people and have a conversation with people that would have never have necessarily engaged you previously, right? So that's the letter, or that's the marketing template. And then, this is the actual letter you send out. And again, both of those templates, you can find them in Jiggler. You can use them complimentary on the house, right? So thing number 2. Now, I did say to you, I was going to show you something that you can do and target those expireds and withdrawns. So you might even use this, right? So this is the front page, important notice, things have changed in your area, find out what your property is worth. So that's the front. And then on the back of the brochure, who am I? So there's a bit of a profile about you. So front page, do you want to know what your house is worth? Back page, this is who I am and this is what I'm about. You might target that to your expired listings. You might target that to your expired listings or withdrawn listings. Or you can just purely use that as a farm area drop in January and just blanket drop the whole area. I know I've done this in the past, and I can tell you I've sent this letter out in January. I've done it for years. And for those of you who have been on coaching calls, I try and keep these things fresh, but this has never changed because it just works. Every January, letterbox drop goes out to the whole farm area with this flyer. This then also gets direct mailed to my database. The most I've ever had in as far as success-wise, 2,000 sent. 45 listing appointments generated, 23 listings secured in a 2-week period. The reason why I keep telling you is because it still works. So I want you to have the same success. So what's my point? In December, you might start generating this template. So you might get 2,000 of these printed, 3,000 of these printed. You're going to email, or maybe you're going to direct mail all your past appraisals. Anybody that's had an appraisal done, you might direct mail them in the database. So you might have 100 or 200 of them ready to go that you're going to direct mail. And then you're also going to letterbox drop it. And they're going to be ready to go. So as soon as you come back on the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th of January, this stuff's getting letterbox dropped. This stuff's getting mailed. So you've got plenty of listings for Jan, right? And then thing number 3, you might send this out in February. Look at all the properties we've sold. You put a map of your area up the top, you put the pin drops so people can see that you are active. So there you have it. There's a few ideas on, some marketing, some good ideas on how you can engage your database. Now, I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second. But that's where you can get all those templates. So all those templates, you can get them off that website. And the great thing about it is every template you can edit, right? So you can change it to your colors. You can change the words. You can save them as PDFs to print them, or JPEGs if you're going to post them on social media. So it's really simple to sort of generate this stuff quickly. So again, if you like them or want them, my gift to you, you can set up a free account on Jiggler. You get 30 days to jump in and generate all that stuff complimentary on the house for free, right? Nice and simple. So let me just stop sharing for a second. Not the screen, I mean. Tell me, because it's right on 12 o'clock now where I am, and I'm respectful of your time because I advertise this for an hour. So give me another 3 or 4 minutes and we're done. Tell me, what was the number one takeaway that you're going to action from this call? What's the number one aha moment? What's the number one thing that you're going to action from our call today? What's that number one? What's that one thing you're going to do? Video. Fantastic, Jason. Yeah, we've gone through a lot of stuff today. I've thrown a lot of content at you very quickly, from business plans to marketing ideas to giving you SMS templates. You name it, I've sort of given it to you, right? Contacting past appraisals, great. Yes, fantastic, Jamie. I'm really glad you picked up on setting the KPI for the amount of appointments. Business plans, goals, geez, you guys are typing faster than I can read it. The Christmas Xmas video, great. We're business plan stats, everything you've said, fantastic. Monitor monthly figures close, 100%, Adam, really important. Marketing plan, yeah. Well, I'm glad. Hopefully, I've given you guys some really cool tools. Now, I promised you a couple of things. I promised you I would give you the 10 traits of top performers. So I'm going to get you that link right now. Right. So here is the link. I'm just copying it off my thing. Going to here. Okay. So I promised you guys 10 traits for top performers. It's a 7-page ebook and a really easy read, like really easy. There it is. I made that earlier this year, and I think after work, and I do a lot of coaching. I work with agents one-on-one, and I also work with offices where I go into your office and do in-house coaching. And I hopefully, when I share my ideas, I learn as much as I share. And the way that little ebook come around was me working with, me coaching, or having the opportunity to coach some of the best agents in the country. What are the top performers' personality traits? What makes those top performers top performers? I made a little ebook and put down what I believe are the top 10 motivators, the top 10 assets, the top 10 skills, habits that top performers possess. By the way, the links you put up first don't work. Okay. Can everyone tell me, does that link that I just clicked, that I just put up, work for you? Just see a show of hands. If that's working, great. Okay, cool. All right, because that's just a link back to my website where you can click the download button. You might have pop-ups disabled or something if it's not working. Okay. So that's where you can get the top performers thing. Also, there's a lot of you who are on this call who are coaching clients, and there's, and what I mean that you're all basically either one-on-one clients or in-office clients, or you work for a franchise that I do coaching with. On that website, there's a thing called Book Aaron. If you guys want to have a chat to me about getting me in to your office, by all means, click the link. We can have a chat. If you like this session, you'd love a kickstart session where I come in and spend the day with you guys, hang out, look at where you're stuck, help you get unstuck. So if that's of interest to you, fill in the box where it says Book Aaron and we'll have a chat. Other than that, I'm basically done. If you've got any questions, let me know what they are, and I'm happy to answer them for you guys. Any questions? Now's the time to sort of ask. Will you be able to rewatch this, Andrew? Yes, you will. I'm going to put this as a recording. I'm going to put this as a recording on my website. So if you click on that website link, like if just aaronshiner.com, under free resources, that's where you will find it. Slides. Sorry, Jeremy, my bad. I knew I was forgetting something. Yes, I did promise you the slides, and yes, I will deliver. Here it is, if I can find it. Real estate business plan. F. I can't find it. Here it is. Found it. Here we go, guys. I will send you. Here it is, as promised. Oops. As promised. Here is the PDF from today as well. So there's the PDF workbook from our slides today as well. So I've given you the slides from today and also the 10 traits of top performers. Any questions before we go, guys? Thank you. You're welcome, Monique. It was great catching up with you, and I'll see you next year for our one-on-one. Do you have any suggestions on how to keep your pipeline fit rather than fat? Yeah, 100%. That's a simple one. It's all around fit, Donna. And you know what fit looks like for me is regular contact. Regular contact that is engaging. That's for me the number one tip for a fit database. And there's three little letters that will determine a fit database, Donna, and that is RIA. RIA stands for results in advance. Every time you send out a piece of content that helps a client get a result in advance, then you'll have a fit database because they'll engage with you, they'll respond to you, and they'll know you, like you, trust you. If you just smash them consistently saying, hey, I'm a real estate agent, list with me, they'll switch off. So that's why you're going to send videos to wish them Merry Christmas and give them market updates, and you're going to do it consistently. Consistency is the key to a fit database. Consistency is the number one key. And the thing is, Donna, and maybe I'm answering this in more detail than it requires, you might say, Aaron, I haven't sent them stuff for ages. What should I do? Just start sending them. The ones that don't want it will unsubscribe, and the ones that do want it will. And that's how you turn it from a fat database to a fit one, because the ones that don't want to be there will go, and the ones that do want to be there will stay. So, but consistency of engagement, quality of contacts, I promise you, will help turn a fat database into a fit database. Janelle, I will see you on Friday with your video because that's the deadline. So Janelle's a one-on-one coaching client. We've set a target for Christmas video. I even said I'll be on the call while they make it to help to get it done. Will the Christmas letter also be under new? No, Paul, really good question. The Christmas letter will be under get listings. So all the other templates other than the first one I showed you will be under the Get Listings tab, okay? So they're all under Get Listings. All the best to you and your family. You too, Andrew. I will be in contact with you regardless before the end of the year anyway. I've got to have a chat to you. Thanks, Aaron. Great kickstart for 2020. You're welcome. I can already see I've had a few people fill in the form to have a chat about me coming in to your office and chatting about Kickstart. So I'm happy if you want to know some more, all you got to do, go to that, I'll just type it in. Go to www.aaronshiner.com and it just says book Aaron. If you want to have a chat about how I can come in and help your team, let me know. Or even if you want to have a chat about one-on-one coaching, there's some information there as well. So thanks, Aaron. Framptons, very good. I will see you. I'm seeing Melanie. I'm seeing you next week, the 17th. I'm seeing you for your next Tuesday. I'm seeing you guys for your implementation check-in call. That's where I either pat you on the back or kick you in the butt. But one of the two things is going to be happening on that session. So I went to the Framptons office there in Alice a couple of weeks ago, and we set a whole heap of implementations and actions from our Kickstart sessions. So that's where I check in and make sure that they're doing the things that we discussed and doing the things that they should be doing. So Any other questions? Any other questions, guys? Thank you from Auckland. You are welcome, Kerry. Appreciate the tips. You are most welcome. Any other questions, guys, as we hang around? Thank you and Merry Christmas. Yeah, look, for those of you, there's still about 80 odd, 90 odd people on this call. If I don't speak to you before Christmas and New Year, enjoy it. Enjoy it with your family. Actually take some time off. Don't work between Christmas and New Year. Actually recharge your batteries. So you can come back focused and refreshed. That would be a little tip. No point, we don't earn badges of honor, medals of honor in this business. We get paid in results. So if everybody else is having time off, you also earn it. Take some time off. Turn your freaking phone off. Don't even answer the calls. Tell your vendors you're going to be missing a day or two before Christmas and a day or two after New Year. Only call me if you lock yourself out of the house or it's burnt down. Other than those two reasons, I don't want to know what's happening. So actually take some time off. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If there's no other questions, we will wrap it up. And I've really enjoyed this session today. That's a wrap. No more questions. That's it. All right. Merry Christmas, guys. Kick butt, take names, and honestly, my goal from creating this webinar for you today was to help you have your best year ever, and I really hope it put you on the right track to do that. If you need my help in 2020, you know where to find me. Reach out. I'm here. Take care, guys. Have a great day.